Welcome back. Let's spend a few moments thinking about a firm's costs, its revenues, and see if we can figure out what its profit maximizing quantity is. What's our process for this? What's the rule for how a firm chooses its profit maximizing quantity? Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've set up some numbers. So let me explain this real quickly, then pause the video, write it all down, and then hit play and we'll fill it in. So for our example, we have a firm that is a competitive firm. It's in a competitive market. Maybe it's a perfectly competitive market, meaning the firm is a price taker. It looks at the market and it accepts the market price as the price at which that firm can sell. It can't control price. So let's suppose that the price for this firm's good is $9. Let's also suppose that this firm has some rent it has to pay. So it has fixed costs of $6. So we've set this up. It's a firm that can sell as many units as it wants at $9, but $9 is the price. Okay, so what does our table look like? So the firm can choose its quantity, and its goal is to maximize profit. So what does that mean? It wants the highest profit possible, so we'll fill in this column in just a second. And that's the point where profit stops rising and starts falling. So we'll see that in just a second. So what are our columns? We want to look at the quantity. We want to look at the firm's total revenue if it sells that quantity. We want to know the firm's total cost, which I went ahead and filled in for us. We want to know the firm's profit then. If it sells that quantity, what's its revenue, what's its cost, that gives us profit. We know the firm's marginal revenue. If it sells an additional unit, the marginal revenue is just the price. So I went ahead, I filled in the $9 all the way down. Not all that entertaining. And the firm's marginal cost, we would need to have some information on this. So the firm has to have some idea or expectation of what their costs would look like. Most firms, economists think, have increasing marginal costs. So I went ahead and I just set that up for us. Right? So what's their marginal cost? The cost of producing an extra unit. Well, at 0 units, there is no marginal cost. But when they produce that first unit, what are the costs associated with, say, labor or the supplies to produce that first unit? Well, let's suppose it's $5 for the first unit, $6 for the second unit, $7 for the third unit, etc. Right? So these costs just keep increasing. So it's these marginal costs combined with the fixed costs that give us our total cost. Right? So this $6 total cost, if the firm produces no units of their good, they still have to pay rent, so their total cost is just the fixed cost. When they produce that first unit, now they've got to pay their rent of $6, plus they need some labor and supplies, this marginal cost, right? The cost that goes with those variable inputs. So this marginal cost of $5 gets combined with their $6 in rent, meaning their total cost is $11. All right, what if they decide to produce 2 goods? Well, they've got to pay their $6 in rent, plus they have $5 worth of supplies and labor for the first unit, plus $6 worth of supplies and labor for the second unit. So what's their total cost? Well, it's $6 worth of these variable costs, plus the $5 in variable costs for the first unit, plus their fixed cost is $6. So you've got $6 plus $5 is $11, plus their rent of $6 gives us their total cost of $17. So hopefully you've got a feel for sort of what this table is, what it's telling us. This might be a good spot for you to pause the video, write the table down, and then let's come back and fill in these columns. And then we're going to try and make sense of it. So pause it here. We'll pick it back up in just a second. Okay, picking back up again, let's fill in the total revenue column. So if the price is $9, if they sell 0 units, produce and sell 0 units, their total revenue is going to be $0. right? If they sell 1 unit, what's their total revenue? It's $9. If they sell 2 units at $9 each, what's their total revenue? It's $18. If they sell 3 units at $9 each, what's their total revenue? Well, now it's $27. You get a feel for this, right? What is total revenue? It's just price times quantity. So all we're doing is just filling that in. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, and 72. So that's their total revenue that goes with each quantity. So what's profit? Profit is just revenue minus costs. So profit is the firm's total revenue minus its total costs. So if they produce no units, they sell nothing, they still have to pay their rent of $6. So what's their profit? A negative $6. They lost $6. They're in the hole. Okay, what if they sell 1 unit? Well, now they've got $9 in revenue and $11 in costs. So their profit is negative $2. What about if they produce and sell 2 units? Okay, well now they've got $18 in revenue and $17 in costs. So now their profit is $1. So what is this profit? So profit is just total revenue minus total costs. That's all we're doing is just filling in that column. So let's go ahead and finish filling it in then. So at 3 units, that means they make $3. At 4 units, they make $4. At 5 units, still make $4. At 6 units, they make $3. At 7 units, they make $1. And at 8 units, they lose $2. Hopefully you get the same numbers that I got. All right, so how does the firm choose the quantity that it should produce? If your intuition here is, well, it should produce the quantity that has the largest profit, you're thinking about this the right way. So how can we look at it a couple different ways, right? How can we choose between, should they make 4 units or 5 units? Well, let's look at what each unit does to profit. So what's the change in profit of producing that next unit? So the first one, change in profit, yeah, that doesn't really matter at 0 that much, right? Okay, what if they produce 1 unit? So this firm went from losing $6 to losing $2. So profit increased by $4. Okay, what about if they produce 2 units? Well, they went from losing $2 to making $1. So that means their profit increased by $3. Well, what if they make another one? So they go from $1 in profit to $3 in profit. That means producing this next unit has increased profit by $2. So they say, this is great. Every time we make another unit, our profit goes up. Yep, all right, what if they produce that 4th unit? Well, now their profit has increased by $1. What if they produce this 5th unit? Wait, now their profit's still $4, right? So when they went from 4 units to 5 units, their profit went from $4 to $4. So they see no increase in profit. Well, maybe that's a fluke. What if they keep going, right? What if they decide to produce a 6th unit? Well, now their profit goes from $4 down to $3. So their change in profit, they actually lost $1. Okay, well, let's produce another one and see what happens. So they go from 6 units to 7 units. Well, now they're only making $1 in profit. So their profits actually decrease by $2. And what if they make this 8th unit? Now they're actually $2 in the hole. So what happened to their change in profit? It went down by $3. So what is the optimal quantity then? what should they produce, or how much should they produce? So it's the point where marginal revenue, how much the firm receives from selling another unit, is equal to its cost. So if you could sell a unit for more than it costs you to produce it, you're going to do it, right? If you can make a hot dog for $3 and you can sell it for $9, you say, sweet, I'll sell that, I'll take that deal all day long. Let me do it again and again and again. Well, how long do you do this? Until your marginal revenue equals your marginal cost. Until that last hot dog you sell, or whatever it is, exactly equals the cost that it cost you to produce it. So what is this firm's optimal quantity? Their optimal quantity is to produce 5 units. Why? That's where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Producing another unit doesn't add anything else to profit. If they overshoot, it's actually going to reduce their profits. Now, does this line up if we just look at total profit? Yep, right? Profits are increasing, 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 peak out, and then start to fall after that. So 5 units in this case is the optimal quantity. All right, so how can we think about this in sort of a graphical term? What's going on? So let's set up our graph. So if we set up a graph and we think about price, so that's price, I guess we could also think about this as costs. So it's cost, price, dollars, everything all on the same axis, right? And we're comparing that to quantity. So what's our story with one of these competitive firms? We said that their price is fixed by the market. They have to accept the price of the market. They don't get any control over price. They're a small firm. They're a price taker. So if the price is $9, right, that's this market price, then the firm's demand is just this horizontal line. So they can sell any quantity they want for $9. That's the story we have set up in this table, right? Price is $9, so the marginal revenue, the amount they sell each additional unit for, is $9. But what's changing? Their costs are changing. Their marginal costs are increasing. So for the first unit, we said their marginal cost was $5, and then it went up to $6, and then $7, and then $8, $9, $10, $11, $12. So this firm's marginal costs are increasing. So this is their marginal cost. So what does it make sense for them to produce? Why don't they produce 1,000 units? Right? Why don't they produce way, way, way over on the quantity side? So if we think about over here, the firm's marginal cost is greater than the price, which is the firm's marginal revenue. Right? So the cost to produce a good is more than the revenue they're going to get from selling it. So marginal cost is greater than the price and the marginal revenue. Okay, so that's too many. If that's the case, what should the firm do? The firm should produce less. So produce less. All right, how much less? Well, what if they only produce like 1 or 2, right? What if they only produce 1 or 2 units? So this sort of far left side of our graph. So here we've got our marginal costs, which are now less than the price, and we said that that price is the firm's marginal revenue, right? So marginal costs are less than the price, which means if you can sell for $9 and you can produce it for $5, for example, would you take that deal? Absolutely. You'd give me $5 if I'm giving you $9 back all day long. So you say, oh, well, I want to do it again and again and again. So what does the firm do then? It says, well, gee, if our marginal cost is less than the price, then we should produce more. So they produce more. How much more? We said they produce too much. Now they're losing money, right? Because their costs are greater than the price. What do? They zero in on this optimal quantity. That's the idea. If they're producing too few, then their marginal revenues are greater than their marginal costs, and they produce more, right? Marginal revenue greater than costs, they just keep producing more until these things are equal, until our curves cross at our optimal quantity, and if they overshoot it, now their costs are greater than their marginal revenue, and we see their profits declining. So if they're making too many, what should they do? They should produce less, and that leads to profits rising. Okay, so if you don't like thinking about this in diagram terms, how can we take this diagram and bring it back over to the table? What was our story? So for this relatively small number of units, this is our place where marginal revenue, right? Marginal revenue, the price, $9 in our example, is greater than the marginal cost. So what should the firm do there? If they increase quantity, that leads to profits increasing. All right, what if they overshoot the mark? Down below, right? So we've got a large quantity of output. They're producing too much output. Now, the marginal revenue, our price of $9, is less than the marginal cost. So how can they increase profits? Here, if they decrease the quantity that they're producing, then that leads to profit increasing. Basically, if you're hurting yourself, stop hurting yourself. Go backwards. That's the idea here. So hopefully you're getting a feel for where should these firms produce? How much should they produce? They should keep increasing production until marginal cost equals marginal revenue. So that's our big takeaway, right? Our optimal quantity is when marginal revenue equals marginal cost. There's our takeaway. Our optimal quantity, Q star, is when marginal revenue equals marginal cost. If you can make another unit and sell it, and you can sell it for more than it costs you, make that next unit, then do it again, then again, until you're selling that next unit for what that next unit costs you. That's your point where you've maximized profit. That's your optimal quantity. So hopefully you've got a feel for this. We'll leave it here. And we'll just say thank you, and we'll see you next time.